Hello, Sye here, and being vegan in a non-vegan world, or when being vegan is weird. Okay, so how do you deal with people that don't understand you changing your diet, or who think you're weird when you change your diet in any way, but especially to being a vegan? Okay, first thing to remember, where did you come from? You probably weren't born vegan. I know that some people are born into a vegan family these days, and they obviously have breast milk because most vegans allow their children and should allow their children to consume breast milk because it is totally natural. It brings no harm to the mother animal. And it also is just good for the baby. It's the very best thing that a baby can have. And I know most people know that, so I don't want to preach to the choir. But for most of us in the world, we didn't come from a vegan family. And we didn't get raised by vegans or vegetarians. And unless you're watching this video 50 years down the road from now, and there's a good chance that that does represent you. But for now, you have to remember where you came from. And the question you should ask yourself first, if you're having a conflict with somebody in your family who doesn't understand you being vegan, ask yourself, did you like that person before you became a vegan? And if you did, then my suggestion is, first of all, to continue liking that person. And that doesn't mean that you have to think it's good that they still eat meat, but remember that you once ate meat too, or some kind of animal product most likely, and there was probably even a time when you didn't understand when somebody was vegetarian or vegan. So, do you remember that time? I do. I remember when I was a lot younger, I had, or I still have, a half-sister who was vegetarian. She's no longer a half-sister anymore. I'm sorry. She's no longer a vegetarian anymore, but she was a vegetarian for a long time. And just her being vegetarian was weird to me, although I respected her and understood that she had this different way of being. And she actually did have a little bit of influence on me in my early life because I was open-minded enough to think that, maybe there's something good about what she's doing, even though it was really weird. So, people who are not vegan or vegetarian think you're weird when you go vegan or vegetarian sometimes. In the world we live in today, it's obviously becoming trendy to be vegan, or say you're vegan, or say I was vegan and it didn't work out. So, in the world that we live in, it might not be completely weird when you say you're vegan, but people are going to give you a little bit of flack. Don't know if that's the right word or not, but we'll just leave it at that. So, how do you deal with that? You go to a friend's house, and you're used to being around them, and sometimes you eat food with them, and all of a sudden now you don't eat the food that they're eating because it's not vegan. So how do you deal with that when they say, oh, come on, you know what, it's rude not to accept food from somebody else, you eat what people give you, and that's a sign of respect. That's respectful to the people. Well, here's what I do. I say, I mean no disrespect to you at all, and I like you as a person, but there is absolutely no way that I'm going to eat that food because it isn't what I want to put in my body. And that doesn't make me dislike you, but I am not going to eat that. And just so you know, going into the future, I'm never going to eat anything that isn't what I want to eat. So just understand that it has nothing to do with you, but I wouldn't even want you to cook for me because I want to make sure that nobody who doesn't understand the way that I eat accidentally put something in the food that I don't want to eat. So the best thing is for you not to cook for me. And guess what happens usually when you tell somebody something like this? And especially when you do it with love for this person, they are going to understand, and they're going to say, oh, okay, oh, well, you're serious about this thing, okay. And so a lot of times after I say something like this to people, then they're like, well, what can I make for you? What will you eat? And then I say something like, well, you can't go wrong with fruit. And that way I know for sure that they're not going to make me something that I don't want to eat. And I don't want to eat just any whatever kind of food anyway myself. And I know some people who are just vegan and it doesn't matter about their health. They're vegan just for the ethical reasons. I understand that. And you might just eat whatever somebody gives you as long as it's vegan. For me, I won't, because I want to make sure that I'm getting good quality food. So I just tell people I'm very particular about what I eat, and so I just basically make my own food so that other people don't have to make it for me. And guess what? People understand. They don't dislike you for it. They might think you're a little weird at first, but over time, they may even end up thinking there's something good about what you're doing if they see good things in you as a result. So we could call this when being vegan goes from being weird to being kind of cool. And that's where I'm at right now. People in my life, for the most part, don't bother me about being vegan anymore. In fact, they have a little bit of respect for me, knowing that I've done this for so long, and they see that I am okay, that I am able to do all of the things that I used to do that don't involve eating animals, or that doesn't involve eating animals. They say, oh, hey, he can still ride bikes up mountains with us. Wow. And it's usually not an issue. And a lot of times they'll want to try the food that I have because they have heard from somebody else that it's good and they like it. And guess what? Another thing you can do when let's say that you have kind of a very specific way of being vegan. Maybe you're a raw food vegan. Now that's fine and it's good, and I've done that for periods of time. And there are good things about it. But I personally like to eat some cooked food these days. So if you're open to eating cooked food when you're around people, or if you're going to have somebody over your house to eat with you and they completely don't understand your way of being, then feed them foods that you like to eat that are cooked plus some raw foods. For example, corn, potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, rice, any number of different kinds of vegetables, cooked or raw. Make something simple and offer them something simple that they can relate to and that you don't mind eating too, and then they'll realize, oh my gosh, this whole vegan thing is not so weird after all. They eat normal foods, it's just that they're not eating the meat part of the foods. And then you'll have the opportunity to interact with them in a positive way, and when they ask you your views and opinions about why you're vegan, whether it be for health or for ethical reasons, then you can tell them. But if it's for ethical reasons, which for me, it started off for health reasons a long time ago, but as I progressed down the path, I realized that I couldn't go back to eating animals, and it's because I don't see them as food anymore, and I wouldn't want to kill them. And this is coming from a person who comes from a hunting family. I was born into a hunting family. We hunted growing up, and I killed animals, small animals for me, like birds, rabbits, squirrels, and I ate them, and I personally killed them myself. And of course, I was fishing when I was younger, so I know what that's like. I can relate to those people, but it came to a point where I just didn't want to do that anymore, and now I am like the most extreme of those people. I won't even kill a fly or swat a fly or a mosquito because I don't take life for granted. I look at all life and I think to myself that this life is representative of the whole life, and I want to be respectful of that. Now, would I ever kill a bug? Under the right circumstances, probably. But I definitely do the best I can to not even kill bugs. So So you could see that my reasoning for not being vegan goes very deep. And people understand this. So just realize that even though we live in a world that is not vegan at this time, where there's not a lot of people who understand, just be yourself 100%, and don't ever feel like you have to give in and be a different way because somebody else expects you to. And I mean that even if you go into another culture where it's really disrespectful not to take the food that they give you when they offer it to you. I've done that. I've been to Hungary with my wife many times, and when I first went there and I didn't eat the food that they wanted me to eat, they were upset and really angry with me. But over time, they grew to understand it, and lots of people began to offer me things that they knew that I would eat, and they were so happy that I would eat something that they would just give me as much of it as they could possibly give me. And they liked me. They didn't have any problem with me as a result of not taking their food. And I would say that you should extend this thought not just into not taking any food, but never do something for somebody else that you completely don't believe in doing ever, just because of what they might think if you don't do it. Have respect for yourself and have enough respect for them to let them know that you're not doing it because you don't believe in doing it, and nothing is going to change your mind. And as long as you are firm in that understanding and that you tell people with confidence that you are not going to do it, they are going to understand and they're going to respect your decision. And if they're offended, they're going to get over it. And if they don't get over it, then why would you want to be around them anyway? So being vegan in a non-vegan world. Now, it's obviously not easy to start because you are going to go through a transformation and you are going to be confronted with this difference in you. But over time, you'll realize that there are a lot of people who understand you, who respect you, and even people who will be like you or become like you in the way that you choose to eat. And you'll have your own community of people that understand. And in addition to that, you'll begin to be able to have fun with those people who still don't understand your way of eating or aren't going that way, because you remember the time when you weren't that way and you like them in spite of themselves. Well, you just have to remember that there's a question in their mind about whether or not what you're doing is good for you, first of all, and they're also wondering if people were not meant to eat animals because they see animals eat animals. A lot of animals do, and they use nature to justify their killing and eating of animals. So the next question that I have for you is, can you prove that we weren't meant to eat animals? And if you can, go for it. Prove it. I can't prove it, so I have to basically believe and tell people for myself that animals don't seem like food to me. Like, I can't imagine to eat my dog, which I don't have anymore. But I could never imagine to eat my dog or another person's dog or their cat or their guinea pig, because those things don't seem appetizing to me. They seem like little creatures that are very cute and fuzzy, and I don't see them as food at all. They don't seem appetizing. So that's my argument. It doesn't seem like food. And I know not everybody is going to be as relaxed about it as I am, but I just wanted to tell you how to be vegan in a non-vegan world, or how to be vegan when being vegan is weird. So I hope that you liked this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.